Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Better Than Ever You Wisdom broadcast. My name is Karen Kitt, and I am here to share tonight about wisdom strategies to bounce back from a difficult year. Are you struggling to bounce back from a difficult year? Well, tonight we're going to talk about how to turn mistakes and failures into stepping stones for success. That's right, turning last year's mistakes and failures into stepping stones for success. Thank you so much for joining me. You know, we have really been through some years of difficulty, and last year really was very trying for many of us as we tried to move forward. There is so much uncertainty that's taking place right now in the workplace. The work is piling up, and you're not getting recognized for the work. I don't know about you, but I spent so many years in that situation where I gave everything I had and there was still no recognition. And here we're now sitting in terms of financial crisis, uncertainty. All of the reports that we hear are straining our relationships and frankly, keeping us from getting a good night's sleep. And so it's like we've got to do something. Something has to change. Something has to change. Wouldn't you agree? And so it's time for us to bounce back. Bounce back. And how do we do that? What strategies do we use? If you're like me, you've tried everything, right? You've tried positive thinking, affirmations, talks with friends and family, writing lists, setting goals, trying new habits, and yet there is still no shift in what's happening in our lives, what's happening in your life. And I know it's not easy, and you're not alone. And so, what is the solution? The solution is to find our solutions in wisdom. I'm holding up right now a journal from the Better Than Ever You Wisdom Challenge. And some of you may know already, and you saw and signed up for the Wisdom Challenge with Pedro Adao and his wife, beautiful wife, Suzette. Some of you signed on and are enjoying the 31 days of wisdom with that. And so tonight, as promised, I'm going to do a debrief of the first day. Now, what is wisdom, you might be asking, and why should I pursue it? Wisdom is truth applied to daily life. Again, I'll repeat. Wisdom is truth applied to daily life. So when we see the reports of uncertainty in financial situations, when we see the uncertainty of layoffs and industries shrinking and disappearing, when we see the strains in our relationships, when we see that we aren't sleeping at night, I've been there. I know the pain. And so the answer is found in wisdom, because there has to be a standard of truth. We have a lot of heroes and systems that have fallen that we thought were dependable, that we thought would take care of us, that we thought would allow us to live our lives stress-free, or at least in a manageable state where we could enjoy our lives and be rewarded for our labor. But the answer is that it has to come from you. And guess what? You have the power to navigate these difficult circumstances. And how do we do it? We do it through wisdom. And what is wisdom? Wisdom is truth applied to daily life. If you like what you heard so far, or if you think wisdom might be interesting for you, go ahead and type in wisdom if you're watching live or if you are watching the replay. So, what happens when we gain wisdom? What happens when we pursue it? Well, the first day challenge dealt with Proverbs Chapter 1. And Proverbs Chapter 1 was written by an ancient king, King Solomon. King Solomon was an ancient king in Israel, and he inherited the throne at a young age. And he did not know how to handle those responsibilities. He prayed to the Lord, and God replied to Solomon, "Because this was in your heart, Solomon, and you did not ask for riches, possessions, or honor and personal glory, or the life of those who hate you, nor have you even asked for long life, but you have asked for wisdom and knowledge for yourself, so that you may rule and administer justice to my people over whom I have made you king. How many of us, if given the opportunity to have a visitation at an encounter, you can do whatever you want, you've prayed, what would your answer be? I know that I would probably ask for long life. I pray for that often. I would pray sometimes for my enemies to be still. Lord, you handle them, administer the justice. And yet, because he had a heart for the people, he asked for wisdom to rule the people. At a young age, he was exercising wisdom. So then, what was the Lord's response to this young boy king's prayer? He answered, because you have not asked for those things, I have given you wisdom. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings, the record says, for riches and wisdom in the earth. And all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. So Solomon had a problem. And what did he do? He asked for wisdom. That's what we need to do today. That's our example, to ask for wisdom. Isn't that amazing? So there are promises to be found in the Word of God, in the book of Proverbs that we're focusing on in the month of January. And every day has a particular promise. And today's promise is that you can bounce back from a difficult year, and any mistakes or failures you can use as stepping stones for success. I hope that's helping right now. I don't know about you, but I'd like to kind of share a story about that, about trusting wisdom and how wisdom came through for me. And I just remember a very difficult time in my career. I was a full adult. I had gone through some of life's tests and trials, and I was in a work situation where I was giving it my all. I was also taking care of heavy family responsibilities. And it just came to a point where, there was just too much going on. The work distribution was unfair. I was doing the work of 3 or 4 people. And I, had conversations and, tried all of the things that we know that we try to do in wisdom to address a problem, right? Have direct conversations, try new methods of solving the problem, seeking out individuals in that situation. Perhaps maybe they don't understand or could use some, insight. None of that worked for me. It was a really dark period for me where I felt abandoned and I felt betrayed by, friends and family. I felt betrayed even by the work ethic that I live by, because I always gave it my all. I was exhausted. It was a very painful period. And I found myself just, flat on my back, lying there looking up, praying, I guess, like King Solomon did, and wondering what would be the solution. Lord, give me wisdom. I need a solution. I'm filled with pain. I need help. I'm disappointed. I'm disillusioned. Something's got to change. And so as my solution, I immersed myself in Bible study. I started reading and digging. And as I began to study wisdom in all of its forms, I gained my strength. And so the first tip to bounce back from a new year or a difficult year: assess your current situation. Have you taken a look at what's going on? What exactly happened that led you to the situation? And what are you feeling in that situation? What have you attempted to do to resolve the situation? And admit that perhaps you're overwhelmed, and admit that there has to be a change. So tip number 1, again, is to assess your situation. Number 2, seek out wise counsel. That was very difficult for me. When I realized that the help could not come from friends, family, coworkers, people that I thought was there for me, and they were, it's just that everyone was going through a difficult time, I knew I had to do something very different. And so what I did was I sought out wisdom from counselors that were outside of my regular circles of friends and community. And it was one of the best things that I did. And I found that when I was able to sit and talk with, at that time, it was a life coach, The person helped me explore all possibilities. It was affirming because I got to see that I wasn't broken. There was nothing that was really missing. It was just time to approach the situation and see the situation from a different point of view. So, step two again, seek wise counsel when you need to bounce back. And then the very third thing that I did, once I had the counsel, once I had the discussions, I then had the courage and the strength to try something different. It's really amazing that when you learn to take risks, it builds confidence. And as your confidence grows, possibilities open up to you. And then as possibilities open up to you, things seem to resolve themselves. Yes, things seem to resolve themselves. So that's what I just wanted to share about the wisdom debrief today. Number one, always remember to assess your situation. Number two, seek out wise counsel. And then number three, have the courage to take the risks to make the changes in your life. That's how it's done. If any of this has been helpful to you, that would be great to let me know. Perhaps type in the comments. I'd like to get some feedback from you. If you're ready to do some self-assessment, I have a self-renewal assessment that is available for you. That would be step one in the bounce back, being able to assess your current situation. And this particular item has 15 questions to ask yourself. It's really thoughtful. And when you come to the end of those 15 questions, you really have a picture of where you stand and how you are approaching the things that are going on in your life. It helped me a lot. And then it leads you to know what you might to do next. Some of you are very independent, and maybe you have already gone through this process. Well, then hop on a call with me. Let's have a Discover New You session, and let's talk about what you've discovered in your journey to self-renewal, and perhaps we can talk about some next moves. So thank you so much for joining. This was the edit for the Wisdom broadcast. Again, bouncing back from a difficult year. Turning your mistakes into stepping stones for success means that you assess your situation. It means that you seek out wise counsel. Then you find the courage to take risks that lead you to your desired outcome. Thank you so much for joining me. And the next time we get together, we're going to talk about the Wisdom Journey Advantage. Would you like an advantage? I'll see you soon. Thanks so much.